From Wish TV and the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is the Business, Equity, and Opportunities Podcast with Scott Sander.
Welcome to the Business, Equity, and Opportunities Podcast. I'm Scott Sander. On this episode,
the Certified Vendor of the Month from the Office of Minority and Women Business Development. We continue our series on capital opportunities with a private wealth management firm and the only known women-owned, black-owned historical event venue in Indiana.
Every business is unique and has a target audience. If you own or manage a business, Circulus Digital Media can help you connect and grow your customer base with turnkey digital solutions that are nimble, offering best-in-class results, service, and support to reach a bigger customer base, allowing you to pinpoint a specific audience down to the smallest details. Get outside the city, the state, span the globe. Put Circulus Digital Media to work for you. Get started now at circulusdigital.com. That's circulusdigital.com.
Why get all your holiday decorations delivered through Instacart? Because maybe you only bought 2 wreaths but have 12 windows. Or maybe your toddler got very eager with the advent calendar. Or maybe the inflatable snowman didn't make it through the snowstorm. Or maybe the twinkle lights aren't twinkling. Whatever the reason, this season, Instacart's here for hosts and their whole holiday haul. Get decorations from the Home Depot, CVS, and more through Instacart and enjoy free delivery on your first 3 orders. Service fees and terms apply.
Let's get started by introducing you to the Certified Vendor of the Month from the Office of Minority and Women Business Development. Cindy Shum is the owner of the A.G. Moss Company, a cleaning product supplier founded in 1915. It is one of the oldest women-owned businesses in Indianapolis and one of the first to get certification through the city of Indianapolis.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. Getting started.
City of Indianapolis, Office of the Mayor, in recognition of A.G. Moss Facility Supplies and Furnishings Company, for your selection as the Office of Minority and Women Business Development Certified Vendor of the Month for March 2024. Your commitment to fostering diversity, equity, and inclusion in the workplace and your status as one of the first women business enterprises in the City of Indianapolis has truly set you apart. Thank you for being a positive force in our community, and it is signed and attested by Joseph H. Hogsett, Mayor of the City of Indianapolis.
Thank you. I purchased it in October of 2019, so it's basically 6 months before the pandemic, and it was definitely an interesting time for sure, but it was good because buying the business, it had a lot of well-established relationships, including vendor relationships, because we've been around since 1915. So during the pandemic, we were able to help a lot of customers out with masks and hand sanitizer and all of those things. So I had been in banking for 18 years in commercial banking, so I had worked with businesses and business owners and always kind of looked from afar and, thinking, gosh, could I do something like that? And then the year before, my husband and I had bought a business that he runs. And so, kind of went through that process and saw that. And then in my banking days, I was helping other people buy businesses. So I was kind of part of the financing side of that. And again, kind of saw people that's like, okay, well, maybe if they could do it, I could too. And, sort of like normalize it a little bit for me. And then with this business's long history, that really just appealed to me because I knew that was important for the company to continue to grow. Right around the time I bought the businesses, right when the city started to bid out for the CJC, or the Community Justice Campus. And so because of our certification, we were able to go to those outreach events and connect with all of the GCs there. And we ended up working with Wilhelm, and we supplied all of the bathroom partitions, lockers, fire extinguishers for the 11-story courts building. So if we hadn't had that, we probably wouldn't have had that opportunity. And then working with the city too, just in their different departments. So we've supplied like trash receptacles that are throughout all of the ND parks. We've supplied like janitorial and facility supplies, office supplies to different departments. So, and I think all the outreach events that are available, I would encourage anybody to go to any and all of those events and then talk to everybody that's there, because because you're talking to the decision makers right there, whether it's the city departments or like the general contractors are there. And that's how those relationships start. You know, you have the conversation and then you do the follow-up, and then things just keep going from there. And so, yeah, it's been really important to us. And we also have our state certification also with NDOT as well. What gets me most excited is just the relationships that we keep building, you know, with companies and also with other XBEs in the city. I was just mentioning there's a company down the street, Argent Concepts, that we're partnering on a project together, and they're helping supply some countertops to us. Well, he was like, hey, have you heard about this outreach event over for the LEAP project? I was like, no, I haven't. So he gave me, you know, who was holding the event, got a hold of them, and we went to that, and now we're making all these great connections from there. So, you know, just kind of supporting each other in that way. And then also we work with a women-owned construction company too that helps support us on subcontracting labor. So I think just, you know, like you're saying, like COVID kind of slowed things down or put things on pause, but to see those relationships now really taking off and having those opportunities, that gets me excited. And my team too, you know, we're really kind of being flexible in how we grow. And it's like, okay, how do we best support this customer? And then kind of building those processes around that. Because like on the supply side with the janitorial and facility supplies, well, you know, it's a very commoditized industry, right? I mean, you can find that stuff, you know, if you try hard enough on Amazon. So we really try to build a process with our customers that makes it simple and seamless for them, so that they, you know, when they start working with us, they couldn't imagine working, you know, or when they started working with us, they couldn't imagine how they didn't work with us, because they're like, you guys, like, we love working with you so much that, you know, we're not even talking to anybody else. And so that's what we want to do, and we can customize those solutions because we are a small company. So we can be nimble and do that and say, hey, what you know, one of the things we say is we take the pain out of procurement, you know. So it's like, tell us all of your pains and we will take it on, and we'll come up with a solution process that works for you.
The week of the All-Star Game brought many interested investors to our city to meet business owners and see for themselves what's happening in and around our minority business community especially. James Seth Thompson is one such guest. He's Senior Vice President and Health of the Diversity and Multicultural Wealth segments for Bernstein Private Wealth Management. He sat down with the Business Equity and Opportunities team while he was here to talk about his impressions of Indiana and why his organization's taking interest.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. Access to capital.
My name is James Seth Thompson. I am Senior Vice President and Head of Diverse and Multicultural Wealth segments at Bernstein Private Wealth Management. I have the opportunity of being here in Indianapolis just to be part of the ecosystem and environment around really supporting, you know, Black and brown business owners and startups. Really trying to bring whatever education and knowledge I have to help address the gaps that might exist for people along their journey. From what I see as someone who's not from Indiana is the events like this are the right things, right? I think having a diverse room of individuals, of people who may be in need of the advice, but definitely being in a room of people who have the advice and sometimes don't know how and where to give it, I think you're on the right track, right? I think the best thing that happens in cities all around the country is just to make sure that there's a spirit of intentionality, right? Where everyone is in a room, be very intentional about the needs, the asks, the opportunities, and the successes, and making sure that there's a takeaway, right? I always talk about not everyone has the same amount to give, but everyone has something to give. And whatever it is that you can give will be very beneficial to building the right ecosystem in places like Indianapolis. There's a level of vulnerability that needs to be there. You know, not everyone's going to have the right answer. You know, typically in my world of like the wealth management space, the intel tends to stay within the family, right? But if you are a first generation wealth creator, if you're in this position for the first time, you don't have this kind of trickle down experience that's going to help inform. So I think a level of transparency and vulnerability goes a long way. And if everyone acts in the same way, right, then we're able to kind of open up the aperture and really address those things. But, historically, when I think about financial services in general, and look, opportunity and success and money and creation and wealth, it looks different now, right? So we just really have to open that up, be very vulnerable, and extend ourselves the best way possible. I often think that there's a hierarchy that exists everywhere, right? There's an expectation of what senior people may have that is a disconnect between what people experience who may not be at those levels, right? The gap really is delegation, right? So if you think about it, there are always people who are put in place to close the gap, but we have to make sure those folks who are intended to close the gap have the information and resources and the wants to do it. So folks who are in that position and don't want to be in that position, don't be in that position, right? We need to find the delegators, the delegates, those who are intended to close the gap, to make sure they feel confident that they can act to close the gap between what people expect and what people experience. I get to marry something I'm passionate about with my profession, right? The fact that I could be here in Indianapolis with a great organization that's close to our family, the Sagamore Institute, and extend myself in a very meaningful way, I think is like the best part, right? I don't know if people always have the opportunity to marry their passion and profession, but I certainly do.
Crystal Gibson believes she's the only black woman to own a historic event venue here in Indiana. She was a nurse for more than 10 years, then decided to follow her dream to combine an interior design business with event planning. The results are remarkable.
From Wish TV, this is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. Industry Focus.
We are a historical event venue. This building actually used to be a Mason Lodge. And as of right now, we are the only Black-owned historical event venue in the city of Indianapolis. This building comes with a very unique set of circumstances. From a structural standpoint, things fall out of the sky, out of the ceilings, just simply because it's a 100-year-old space. Most of our clients are from out of state, and I think that's simply because Indianapolis does not know we exist here. So what we are trying to do is introduce ourselves not only to the world, but to Indianapolis, to our home. Recently, for All-Star Weekend, we did host an art gallery here, which was different every day. On the first day, we had an art gallery, all local artists. They were able to customize their pieces to go with Black History Month. The theme for Black History was art, so we wanted to keep that same stature as well as incorporate basketball into it. So all of our artists had something to do with Black history as well as something to do with basketballs. We were able to bring in different cocktails that represented the NBA or basketball type of structures, and that's kind of the format that we follow with each event. What I want to see happen is I want the community in the city to flock to this place, not because I just need business, but because they want to. They want to come somewhere that it has such a giant piece of history, just such a giant legacy to be tied to one of our presidents of the United States. It's a big deal for this building to still be here and standing, and I want young people, I want our LGBTQ community to know that they're welcome. I want all races, all colors. I want everyone to be able to come here and celebrate something, even if it's not a party, just a walkthrough, just to come by and visit, so that they can also sit in the midst of history and know that it's still here. And I plan on having this building here for centuries, for the rest of our family's history. It is absolutely important that every woman, especially women, has another woman or someone in a position of power that they can go to that have experienced those same experiences, that have already dealt with the problems and can help them foresee issues that they don't necessarily have to go through, that could be very expensive, and that can be very time consuming, and that could even affect your family. It is of the utmost importance that you have a mentor and someone that you can trust who actually knows the business. So I would first encourage them, do your research, get you a mentor, and don't stop. There will be lots of nights that you will cry, that you will feel like you have failed. You will celebrate and you will feel like you have failed again. Please, please, please don't stop. keep going, get you an amazing support system and circle, some people that you can cry on. Also get you some people that you can celebrate. But you want to make sure you have a versatile group, a versatile support system, and an amazing mentor.
Our thanks again to all the contributors who joined us for this episode of the Business Equity and Opportunities podcast. We hope you found it enlightening, useful, and inspiring. You'll find more information about the show on our website, BEOshow.com. You can watch Business Equity and Opportunities Sunday mornings at 10 on Wish TV or live stream it through wishtv.com. Each week we provide 7 full segments with topics ranging from how to get started and how to access capital to the day-to-day running of your business and questions about accounting and bookkeeping. We feature business news and trends and always share a success story from one of our contributors. Join us next time for more insights into the world of small business. Be sure to sign up for our Business Equity and Opportunities newsletter to get even more valuable, up-to-date information. And if you have any questions or you'd like to be part of our show, please email us. The address is beo@wishtv.com. We'd love to hear from you. I'm Scott Sander. Thanks for listening.
Watch the Business Equity and Opportunities show on Wish TV and access all of our content and share it on demand anytime at BEOshow.com. You can find more podcasts from Wish TV on the All Indiana Podcast Network at allindianapodcastnetwork.com.